Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Chip Podcast by fans for fans. This is your host Cody Potter. How we doing today? So I'm going to do an episode I really didn't plan on. It's going to kind of just be a wing it thing. Didn't take no notes. Really just going to do this thing off ahead. So since the combine is over, going to do a first round mock. Every team, kind of set it up for, kind of how my board is set. What I think these teams will do, not necessarily what, I'm not riding the wave. A lot of players are going to blow up from the combine. Some players are going down. We'll talk about each of those players, and we're going to discuss a lot of the things that I saw for each thing. So without further ado, we're going to get into this mock draft. Again, I'm very, very, very excited for this because after the combine, people get high on, certain times, think players run, certain attributes players have, just to get right to the Raiders. I mean, this is a no thought pick. Everybody kind of has Fernando Mendoza going to the Raiders, and rightfully so. I don't really see any other option coming from the Raiders. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going Fernando Mendoza. I think there's a couple other options that they have if they trade Max Crosby, and they have another one coming in the range. I would assume they probably go wide receiver, depending on what offensive line is available to them. Offensive line is a position that they're going to really need to address for keeping Fernando Mendoza up. You're going to want to get him a weapon. Trading away Myers to Jacksonville, that just it didn't help their wide receiver calls any. So it's a team that's going to need to get him some weapons. But having Ashton Genty, having Brock Bowers on the roster, it's going to be it's something I'm pretty excited to see. I like Fernando Mendoza. He's really, really tough. He has all the intangibles, everything that I need to see from the quarterback position to win. The fact that he can play his biggest ball in the biggest moments, I think that says something about him. Does he need to work on things? Does he need to work on his processing speed? Yes, he does. But again, every quarterback that comes into the draft, every prospect that comes into the NFL, same thing, man. They're all going to have things to work on and, basically just getting right through it. So to the Jets, man, I know I mentioned the Jets a lot for negative reasons. Starting with ownership. As a Commanders fan, we know what the Dan Snyder era was like. Woody Johnson and things like that have just gone on in New York for years. I mean, it's always something. I mean, they at least had Mark Sanchez. They at least had that run. The Jets really got to start from the ground up. I mean, they're, ideally a quarterback. There's no quarterback worth the pick. Having 6 first-round picks over the next 3 drafts, 2 in this one, 2 in the next one, and then, how that goes. I mean, you got all the ammo to rebuild a complete rebuild. I mean, you have more assets than any normal team would have to do a rebuild like that. Trading away all them players, netting all them first-round picks from the Colts for Sauce Gardner. Getting rid of the defensive tackle who played really well for Dallas. He played really well for them. He always was a steady Eddie for them. It's about finding identity for this team. It really is best player available for me as the Jets. My best player on my board, of course, would be Jeremiah Love. Devalued position. A lot of teams are going to fall in love with Jeremiah Love. I don't think the Jets should make, they're tagging Breece Hall. They're not going to go Jeremiah Love. It's just the easiest way to simplify that. A lot of people were talking about the Ruben Bain arms. It's not really a factor for me. I love Ruben Bain. I think this team, he's a tone setter. He's the type of player, the attitude-wise and effort-wise, just identity-wise, he is definitely a player that you would definitely see and get behind in this draft. A couple other guys that we're going to talk about. We'll go down here to Arvell Reese. I mean, Arvell Reese has all the height, weight, speed, all the measurables. 1 year production. That's kind of going to probably shy some teams away. But when you look at how he and Sonny Styles tested, it's the things that you see on tape. Arvell Reese does have the highest ceiling, and what the Jets are not doing is they're not drafting for a Super Bowl this year. They're drafting long term. It's really about trying to get the players with the best ceilings. I mean, if there's ever a time to really reach on skill set, this would definitely be the time. I think a lot of people have fallen off of the Arvell Reese train going here too. David Bailey is a player. If it was the Jets, my highest graded player at, as a defensive edge rusher. The only blue grade that I got for the edge rusher position would be David Bailey. So that is who the New York Jets are going to take. That's how I would just see it happening. I think that is a good start for the Jets, getting rid of Jermaine Johnson, trading him to the Titans. It allowed, Robert Saleh to get a guy that he was a part of drafting when he was in New York. It opens up a need for another edge rusher. I think David Bailey is the best edge rusher in this class. It just makes the most sense. And I did give him a blue chip grade. I think, for everything that everybody wants to say, is he going to be the guy that's dominating against the run? No, I don't. But I think he is as really good of an edge rusher as you're going to find. The measurables, he does play with a relentless motor. He'll chase plays down from the backside. He's everything that you would really, really like to have in an edge rusher to get everything started going back forward. If you had a premier blue level grade on any of the offensive tackles in this class, which again I don't, you could see the Jets going that way, but they have addressed offensive line in the past. They picked the Penn State boy from last year, first round. Trust me, it's not a position that I think that they would go. It would be quarterback. Edge rusher is another good place to start. The three top positional values would go quarterback, left tackle, edge rusher, or quarterback, edge rusher, left tackle, depending on how you see it. Edge rusher, you can't go wrong. I don't think you can go wrong with David Bailey. So we're going to go on to the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, they're a team that I think would really, really like to get their other tackle situation. Offensive line has kind of been, a weak point in their game. The last couple of years, they've done some really, really good things on the defensive side of the ball. Will Johnson was a hit. Buda Baker's been lurking that back end for a long time now. He's a really, really solid player. It looks like they're moving on from Kyler Murray. Whatever quarterback situation they're going to go, use going forward, it's something that I see this team really, really trying to solidify. Is probably more in the free agency market, whether it's Malik Willis, one of the veteran quarterbacks that could be available, Kirk Cousins, something like that. I mean, just, to get themselves to the 2027 class, getting the premier offensive linemen at this point to set themselves up in a good position to where the offensive line is ready to insert, whether it be Arch Manning, whoever blows up, next year and has that type of year. I mean, we saw Dante Moore go back to Oregon. Could he, establish himself as the overall number 2 player, and then Arizona be in that area? Depending on where the Arizona Cardinals land at the end of the season, I think the offensive line would go the most way towards improving that team. So again, I'm going to keep Maui Noa in this position. I think he's worthy of the pick. I think the offensive line is the direction that the Arizona Cardinals are going to go. Again, I don't have a blue chip grade on Maui Noa, but he is a really, really good player. He's fringe right there. There were going to be the arm length concerns, which he cleared up. Which, again, arm length for edge, arm length. Ruben Bain and all these things. A lot of teams are. There's a narrative around whatever, but if anybody that watched Miami University go through the gauntlet last year, play Ohio State, Marino played great against Ohio State, played great against Indiana. He played great against every team that they faced. He looked good in the Ole Miss game. He looked good all season long. This is a rock solid right tackle, I think, out of the gate. Left tackle, I don't think I would want to move him from the right to the left. I would just let him play what he plays in college. It's not a position switch. It's not a side switch. They already got Paris Johnson, who has been a left tackle. So, again, no positional switch or anything like that. I think he comes out the gates running. I think that's the best direction for the Cardinals to go. It's the direction that I think they're going to go. So, to more of a storyline pick with the Tennessee Titans, there's a lot of directions that I could see the Tennessee Titans going. The last mock that I did, at the time I thought it was kind of a surprise thing. Nobody was really mocking it at the time. I've seen it mocked since. Of course, everybody knows what Jeremiah Love did in the NFL Combine. Tore it up, height, weight, speed, all the measurables, everything that you expected to see from Jeremiah Love, he showed you. Is that still an option on the table? Yeah, I think it's even more popular now than it was before. They do have, offensive line pieces that they've addressed, early in the first round. Can they get them players to start to ascend and maximize their skill set and coach them up properly, get the best play out of them? Ultimately, Cam Ward, for the same reason that I would, justify the pick for Jeremiah Love, it's taking things off of, Cam Ward for the Tennessee Titans. That's why I justify the pick of Jeremiah Love for the Commanders and Jaden Daniels, even though you have the defensive need and things like that. Jeremiah Love is just grading so much higher than other players. I still have Caleb Downs on this board, Sonny Styles on the board, who is another blue player. Those are my 3 blue players right here. Ruben Bain did not get a blue chip grade from me, even though I have Ruben Bain graded up really, really high. Still grading the player. You can say whatever. I mean, he will be the first player with sub 32-inch arms drafted in the top 100 since the 1990s. So again, there is a narrative around having short arms, but to me, Ruben Bain Jr. is that dude. Ruben Bain is an unquestioned pick. I think he's an identity player. He is a really, really solid football player. Nothing that happened in the combine really, really changes that direction for me. And honestly, I think if Robert Saleh was looking at what he has in Jermaine Johnson, getting him over from the Jets and all the skill sets that he had, I think stylistically, I mean, you have Jeffrey Simmons, you have Jermaine Johnson on one side now. I think if you plug and play Ruben Bain Jr. at the Tennessee Titans pick, I think that's maximizing your selection. That's nothing to say against Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese might have an overall higher athleticism score, which is way higher than most guys in this draft, outside of a few, Sonny Styles and some other guys. The Sadiq, the Kenyan Sadiqs of the world, who just tested out of their mind and did amazing things at the combine. Again, Ruben Bain Jr. It's the tape for me. So looking back over the top 4 picks. It's very, very telling to me. Fernando Mendoza, just a rock solid season, the best quarterback all year long, unquestioned, undefeated season. I think he has everything that it's going to take to excel in the league as a number 1 franchise quarterback. Height, weight, speed is all there. He's sneaky with the legs. He's sneaky athletic. I think he, like I said, there's some processing, some feet things when pressure's on him early in his face. Things that he's going to clean up over time. So he's going to have plenty of years to do it. He's got plenty of time. He's got the type of frame to handle the load. He's everything that you want. And then David Bailey, like I said, to the Jets, I think that's the best, most dynamic pass rusher in the class. I think just getting the Jets started with the additions that they've already made on the offensive line, the fact that there's no quarterback worthy of this pick, I don't think it's even close. I mean, could they go Ty Simpson? I mean, they could. I don't think they would. Again, David Bailey, that was the guy for me. And then Francis Mauigoa, I just think that's the way that the Cardinals are going to go. I think the pick is worthy of. I think the player is worthy of the pick. And then Ruben Bain Jr. going next to the Tennessee Titans. I just think that's the direction that Robert Saleh is going to want to go. Robert Saleh solidifying that front 7, being that identity of them the Tennessee Titans moving forward. I think that's everything that you want to go with. So to the New York Giants, there's a lot of options for the New York Giants. Harbaugh, if you look traditionally at the Ravens, that's really all you have to go for. Well, one thing we know about the Ravens, SEC. They love picking in the SEC in the first round. That has probably more to do with their GMs and things like that, because I don't think John Harbaugh had much say in any of the selections that they made. But when you have the SEC, you have the Big Ten. Both of them are really, really leading the way. I mean, we can look right here at the top of this board. We're not going to scroll down. We're not going to make anything crazy. I mean, I don't see no Caleb Banks in this area. I don't see Jermon McCoy with the injuries, Mansour Delane. Could they use cornerback help? Yeah, they really, really could. So there we go. If we're going to talk about one player from the LSU, Mansour Delane, could that be an option for the New York Giants? Yes, it could. It could be. It's very, very dependent on how they've seen them. We've seen the Ravens make picks on cornerbacks high. We've seen the Ravens make picks on wide receivers high. Did they pan out? No, not necessarily. There's a lot of factors that go into that. Maybe they overdrafted some of them guys. You can say that. You can say this. Some are skill set based. Some are just overall what they were being asked to do as to what their skill set was. Looking at them as a number 1 when really they were a 1B type player, maybe more of a number 2 or a slot, dominant that they made play outside. Again, There's a lot of reasons why some of them wide receivers didn't work out for the Baltimore Ravens. But again, John Harbaugh, very, very fundamental football kind of coach. You know what you're getting from him. Steady Eddie. All three phases of football. He wants them to be clean. I think he likes really, 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 really smart players. We got the reports coming out about Caleb Downs' knee from the combine. That's a report. Until I hear it multiple times from multiple things, I'm not going to really sit here and factor into it. They flagged the knee, they flagged it in medical, I'm not a doctor. I can watch YouTube and things like that for, what this means for a player or for an athlete. For me, it's a lot of maintaining. Partial tears are part of football, man. Like at the end of the season, there's a lot of players that get a lot of partial tears. They get, little quick in and out surgeries to repair certain things. The meniscus is something that, you definitely worry about, because when people do blow the meniscus all the way around, it tends to shorten players' careers. So the meniscus is something you could be worried about. Could they go in and operate on it? Quick kind of turnaround, maybe 4 to 6 week type of thing when he's back to moving and, clean that up. The ACL degeneration, man, I'm not even going to get into. I have no idea what that's like. We've talked about people coming in the league with, bad labrums or degenerative, ligaments in their labrums and things like that. Ultimately, we've seen them players go on and have long careers. So again, I'm not going to comment on this on Caleb Downs. I just know the tape. Caleb Downs is definitely a stud. Really, really good football player. I can see Sonny Styles going in this pick. It would be another asset to the defense. I really, really think that the New York Giants would like to go offense with this pick. I went offensive line with the New York Giants before. Could we go all the? For here it looks bad because I'm scrolling down. Spencer Fanu, he would be the next highest offensive graded tackle. Monroe Freeling definitely had himself a day at the combine. Is he worthy of the pick? I would love to. I really, really love the idea of him playing guard, but he measured out and just everything looked really, really clean. He's definitely going to be a tackle in this league. I could see Monroe Freeling, maybe even skipping, with them type of measurables and things like that. And if you look historically at what Baltimore did, whether it was, Jonathan Ogden back in the day, big, huge, massive man, big athlete guy, athletic for his size. I can definitely see them going that type of route. Of course, that was way before John Harbaugh. I know that. But again, whether it be Ronnie Stanley, hell of an athlete coming out. I'm not going to do it for this mock. It's definitely something that I wanted to talk about with Monroe Freeling. I think after the combine and things like that, plus what you added to the tape with him, you saw everything that you needed to see. Just because PFF has him down here, PFF has a different grading system than a lot of people. I always thought Monroe Freeling was going to be at either the bottom end of the first round, was where I was mocking him before. I thought the earliest he could kind of see is probably like around the 15 range, maybe 18 range, was where I had him. He kept falling in my mocks just because of the way positional value needs and things like that, and the way that my mock boards were falling. But again, I think they do want an offensive player. Would they draft Jeremiah Love? I think they would. He's definitely the best player in the draft. Especially at this point, Caleb Downs would be second for me there. Sonny Styles is right there with Caleb Downs is third. As far as players left on the board, people are going to talk about Carnell Tate. People are going to talk about Mekhi Lemon and the workouts that he had. Realistically, man, like let me just keep it real with you. If I don't know what went on with Mekhi Lemon, but I will comment on the Carnell Tate thing. The Carnell Tate thing, I never really cared what he ran. He ran what he plays, and honestly, I think he's a stud, and he goes to the type of situation that I think he needs to go to, where they have Malik Neighbors, and you have the quarterback. You're giving him another weapon out wide. They've kind of gone through the gauntlet with certain guys and injuries at wide receiver position. 1 week this guy steps up, the next week the other guy steps up. No consistent force there. So when I look at the Giants, Carnell Tate still makes a lot of sense to me, man. I don't think it's an overdraft. I have Omar Cooper Jr. If I was going to just go down my board and select mock draft picks, it would look completely different from how I have things graded. But I am giving you a mock draft based on what I think these teams will do. So to the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns would love to go quarterback. If they could just make one up out of thin air and then the player actually pan out, that's what they would do. They would sell their soul for this thing. Wide receiver, I think that they would have loved to go on wide receiver at that point. They got to clean up some things on the offensive line. And I do think this is the spot where this player does go. Just because Spencer Fanu, man, he was coming into the year, he was going to be a graded player. Just because he's down here doesn't mean that's where he is on my board. So again, Spencer Fanu is a player that I think is very, very worthy of going in the top 5. I don't think he will. I think he'll go actually to the Cleveland Browns. That's where I think the Cleveland Browns would want to do positional value. The player is worthy of the pick. Could you maybe switch Monroe Freeling out or Spencer Fanu depending on their preferences? Yes. But Spencer Fanu is that big body guy that they typically like to go with. It's just a pick that makes too much sense to me. I actually think the best offensive lineman in the class is Oyana, the offensive guard from Penn State. Could the Cleveland Browns go that way? I mean, realistically, if you were drafting off of my grade board, yes, you would go that way. But picking a guard at 6 when you have another pick in the first round, you're probably going to have another opportunity to make that type of selection depending on who is left on the board. But for now, getting the offensive tackle, clearing up that position, giving Shador Sanders something, or whoever's going to start. I mean, whether it's, Deshaun Watson, is still hanging around there. They still love him. I mean, whatever. Cleveland Browns have an identity thing. Whoever is going to play quarterback for this team, they have good running backs. You have a lot of the pieces to put in there. The wide receiver position, I think you're going to get much better value making your second selection in the first round at wide receiver. You're not going to get that offensive lineman at that spot because once you drop off of Freeling, like I said, I would get my offensive tackle, whether it's Freeling, whether it's Fanu right here. I would not bank on that other player being there at that next point in the draft. Could they go guard at the second point in the draft if they went wide receiver here? Yes. I think if Cardinal Tate was available, I think they would have gone Cardinal Tate. Since Cardinal Tate was going to the Giants, the next best thing for me was the offensive tackle. That's just for me, which actually makes this pick really, really hard. I did not actually plan this out. Like I said, I kind of just freeballed this. For the Commanders, this would be really, really hard for me. This would basically stab me in the heart because the most important thing for me for this team is getting Jaden Daniels help. I think this defense is quite a ways away from competing. We haven't gone through free agency. That will definitely tell me more about this team and what they're going to do moving forward. If I had to project, if I was going to project what markets Adam Peters would get into, I'm just going to make this pick. If free agency goes a different direction, we do not pick up the linebacker position, I would pick Sonny Styles right here. Like I said, free agency is going to be very, very telling to me. If we were to go out and try to be in the Quay Walker, the Devin Lloyd markets, it would be very telling to me that this pick would be Sonny Styles, because if we do not get either of those type of players or one of the linebackers in the free agency class, I would assume that they're going to focus their attention on running back and they're going to clear it up. But between me and this, looking at the board, love Caleb Downs, I love Sonny Styles, and I love Jeremiah Love. And Arvell Reese is definitely worthy of the pick. And everybody that's going to say we need defense. Honestly, Sonny Styles is the pick. But for the sake of everything I believe in, of just taking the highest graded player, I can't do it. Actually, you know what? I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we did this. If Sonny Styles is on the board, I think the positional value. Actually, nope. I can't do it. It's Jeremiah Love. I can't do it. It's Jeremiah Love. It's Jeremiah Love because you know what a running back is the day you get him. That's generally what it is. So if he comes to camp and he's Jeremiah Love, the Jeremiah Love that we saw in college, some linebackers take time to really, really progress. Would the Commanders do this with Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese on the board? I don't know. I'm going to do it. I think that you add Jeremiah Love to Jaden Daniels. Take the load off of Jaden Daniels. If honestly, if Jeremiah Love didn't go to that pick, he's going to the next pick anyway, or the pick after that. There was no more fall for him there. I couldn't pass him. I mean, honestly, I've tried to do it. I can't do it. He is the highest graded player on my board. I think he is the best player in this draft. I have been high. I have been high on the Bijan Robinsons. I have been high on the Jahmyr Gibbs. I have said every time that them guys were in the draft that they should have gone, and they went. And honestly, Gibbs should have gone higher. I do not devalue the running back. Not when the running back has these type of skill sets. Every few years you get one. In every few years you're probably not getting a Sonny Styles. So I think any other time, Sonny Styles is probably the pick. Looking back on it, it's probably Sonny Styles. If AP had that on the board, it's probably Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese. Just looking at it. But for the sake of it, Jeremiah Love. It's Jeremiah Love. I can't even. We're just going to have to move on because I would take any four of them. I'd run out of the house crying. I'd be happy. I'd be, whatever. I'd be happy as shit. To the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints are on the clock. Wide receiver, guard, D line. That's what they're talking about for need. Well, I'm just going to keep it real with you. I think last time I gave them the same player, and honestly, yeah, I am going to do it again. Arvell Reese to the Saints. For the very same reason that I think I said before. If Jeremiah Love is not there, Arvell Reese, if he is there, would be the pick. I like Arvell Reese. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's got the high ceiling in the draft. So for the Saints to be staring at Arvell Reese at this point, a lot of heavy hitters have really, really fallen in this draft. I really, really like the top end of this draft. For me, the top 10 players are very, very hard for me to line up. I mean, I have my grades on them and I have my preferences, but when I look around the league and I look at these teams and I look at what they would do, I think Arvell Reese paired with Chase Young, getting younger on that front. You're not going to have Cam Jordan there one day. Eventually, you're going to have to make some, you're going to have to. This team is going to have to rebuild for the draft. They have been in cap hell for a very, very long time. It finally seems like they got a quarterback on a team-friendly deal. They should finally start to be able to stop backloading all these contracts and start to really be normal on the cap again. Just re-infuse this roster with some really, really bright talent. You have Chase Young. He's playing good football for you. Add another Ohio State, edge, versatile piece. This guy can play the 3-4. He can play the 4-3. Do you rush him from the outside linebacker position? Do you put him down at edge? I think you do a little bit of both from them. And honestly, I love the way this New Orleans has always kind of moved their versatile defensive players around. I think it's a scheme fit. I think it's a place where he can go and actually reach one of his, closer to his ceiling. If he went to the Kansas City Chiefs next, same thing. Good coaching maximizes players. You put Steve Spagnuolo with Arvell Reese, he's getting the most out of him. It's no questions asked. I think if the board fell this way, I think there probably would be some trading that would be going on at this point in the draft. Kansas City probably, really, really wanted Jeremiah Love to fall to them. I mean, it's a need pick for them. It's one of their biggest needs. It would be something that would really, really make Patrick Mahomes' life a lot easier. But he didn't fall in this. So, I mean, wide receiver is a need. Guard, tackle, D-line. I mean, you have a lot of things that are getting old on the Kansas City Chiefs. And it is complete turnover time around where Patrick Mahomes going through his second contract window and things like that. This team is going to start really, 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 really reshaping itself. They do not need linebacker. I think if the board fell this way, I think this would be the prime opportunity for Kansas City to kind of move back with a Sonny Styles, a Caleb Downs. We're not going to do any trades in this area. I think cornerback should be a little bit higher on this need chart. Maybe contractually they can't afford it, but I mean that's why you get younger at the position. Caleb Banks, that would be pretty scary, Caleb Banks and Chris Jones, lining up together. Let's just see. if I was Andy Reid, what would I do in this point? Would I go Mekhi Lemon? I mean, he has never had an issue with character issues. He has never had a problem with character issues. I don't really know what Mekhi Lemon, how you would even consider that actually a character issue, but for the way that things are being portrayed for how the combine went, I guess there's a character issue. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I didn't, his interview was kind of whatever. But dude, honestly, at the end of the day, like, dude, not every cat is for every cat. So if he rubbed you wrong, or he said something, or he speaks a certain way, or like makes weird eye contact, like, honestly, dude, like, people are making fun of Casey Conception for, having a speech impediment and shit. Like, really, we just need to do better. Like, honestly, I don't know nothing about Mekhi Lemon. I don't know what was going through his mind for the interview process. I don't know what was going through his mind talking, on his interview live to the media. Honestly, I'm not going to knock the guy. I think the guy's a hell of a football player. And until I really see enough smoke around this guy falling to the third round, the effort kind of thing in the drills, not paying attention, maybe it wasn't the best interview, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't think Andy Reid has ever had a problem with anybody having a bad interview. Did he tell him to do it? I don't know. I highly doubt it. But you know what? I'm going Mekhi Lemon here. It's a need pick. It's a value pick, for what you see on the tape. When has Andy Reid ever not drafted a good wide receiver that had a character issue or of some sort to somebody else's opinion about that player and it not panned out? I think Mekhi Lemon's a dog. I think a dog for Patrick Mahomes would be very, very beneficial. And because Jeremiah Love isn't there, I think that pick makes a lot of sense. Until I start consistently seeing, people talk about when Daniel Jeremiah drops Mekhi Lemon out of his top 100, I'll start to think, okay, he's probably getting drafted later. Until that point, I'm putting him on the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the player's just too good. Do I have different grades on this wide receiver class? Yes, I do. But I know stylistically, like realistically, Mekhi Lemon is one of them guys, and Andy Reid knows how to use that type of guy. I think they would go that direction. I really, really do. Whether it be Denzel Boston, a bigger guy, plays over the rim, that would be my second best wide receiver. You just don't know. Pick your poison, though. If you put Mekhi Lemon in the slot for Patrick Mahomes, kind of spell a little bit of some of them underneath things and things like that and give you another physical element. If Travis Kelce is coming back, it's only going to open the middle of the field up even more for Travis Kelce having a Mekhi Lemon on that team. There's many reasons why I can justify the pick. There's many reasons why that pick makes sense. On to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's where I'm going now. Cincinnati Bengals at 10. We're really burning. We're really taking up some time. I've really explained these a lot, but I really want this to just be one of them episodes where it's not going to be short. It's going to be very, very well explained coming out of the combine. If you told me that Sonny Styles was available at pick number 10 and Caleb Downs to the Bengals, I think this is where Caleb Downs went before. If there is some kind of medical. If the Cleveland Browns, really, really, are they going to lose Devin Bush? Devin Bush ascended with the Cleveland Browns last year. That would open up a hole for a need. But they also had the reigning rookie of the year in Carson Schlesinger, who was a linebacker that I was really, really high on last year. How do you want to pair it? How do you want to move it? Would they double up with 2 years in a row back-to-back? Best player at linebacker and pair Carson Schlesinger, who's a really, really smart, really, really athletic linebacker in his own right with Sonny Styles. Do you put Sonny Styles, Carson Schlesinger behind Myles Garrett in that defensive front? Dude, I'm totally talking about the Browns. Sorry. If you put Sonny Styles on this defense, you get the quarterback of your defense. You traded away Logan Wilson a couple years ago. Safety still seems to be the bigger need on this team. The Bengals just, honestly, I could go anywhere on defense in this pick be right. Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles. You could pretty much flip a coin. Because safety is on their need for PFF, dude, I'm sorry. If you put Sonny Styles on the Bengals defense, that would instantly make that team a million times more tougher. You improve the defensive line later on in this draft. add in Sonny Styles, and now your front seven goes from a position of weakness to a position of strength. They need the complete D line. They need linebackers. They need safeties. They need all of it. Linebackers tend to have a slower transition rate. That is the only thing I will say about that. Do I think Sonny Styles is going to deal with any of that? No. But we said the same thing about Devin Lloyd. We've said the same thing about Devin Bush. We've said the same thing about a lot of linebackers that took 2 or 3 years to get ready. As freakishly athletic as Sonny Styles is, he is still learning the position. There could be a learning curve there. So I'm going to go with Caleb Downs. Just because I think Caleb Downs, it's mentioned on their need. Caleb Downs would be a quarterback on the back end, and that back end is just, when I watch the Bengals, man, their back end is bad. They get lost constantly. Just, you add in Caleb Downs in that division, a very, very smart, a high IQ football player going up against the type of quarterbacks that they have in that division. You need that. You need that. Lamar Jackson is a stud, dude. Lamar Jackson is a beast. Nobody knows what the Steelers are necessarily going to be doing. You have Joe Burrow. The Cleveland Browns are eventually going to have a quarterback that you're going to have to pay for, anticipate. Could it be Arch Manning? It seems like they're going in for it, but it seems like the Jets are going into it too. Next year is going to be very, very wild on the win-loss column. Honestly, I think we're going to see some actual NBA-style tanking next year with the way that the quarterback class could be, and the fact that everybody's just going to want Arch Manning. But that said, on to the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, man, I mean, they're going to have a ton of cap space dedicated to Tua. There's not a quarterback here that is really worthy of the pick, except for Ty Simpson. I do think Ty Simpson is going to go in this first round, just so you know. Ty Simpson is going to go in this first round. After having Tua, I don't think right now, I mean, you got Jalen Waddle on the roster. You've turned over a plenty of positions, whether offensive line, defensive line. Trading Jalen Phillips, and then you traded Ramsey, and now you're trying to trade Fitzpatrick, safety position. There's a lot of things that the Miami Dolphins would really, really need. Again, if Sonny Styles is available at this point, and the Miami Dolphins were not going to go that direction, somebody would definitely be trading up to pick number 11. There's the fact that Sonny Styles is even still here on this board. I mean, honestly, it makes me just want to make a trade. Oh my God, I'm about to really have to do that, aren't I? I'm not going to biasly pick Sonny Styles to the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, I really, really do think they're going to fall in love with this player. It's a player that I think fits stylistically to what that defense is going to look like in the future. It's the type of cornerback that the team he's coming from would have drafted. So I am going to pick Mansour Delane. Really, really clean in coverage to the Miami Dolphins. I think it's good value. I think Mansour Delane is very, very clean. He is not grabby at the cornerback position. Can he improve in the tackling department? Yeah, but he will stick his nose in there. Had a little bit of a rough year at Virginia Tech before transferring to LSU, but he is very, very worthy of the pick. And he is the type of cornerback that we are just used to seeing, like the Green Bay Packers and the coaching staff, that, where they came from. That's the type of player that they draft. So this is going to be the quickest pick in the history of the world. Dallas. Yeah, quickest thing. I don't even need to explain it. And honestly, now you can't even say that I'm biased, and honestly, I throw up. I'm kind of killing myself now. I think I'd rather let the Chiefs have Jeremiah Love and let Dallas have Sonny Styles at pick friggin' 11. I lose my. Oh my God! Please, we cannot have the draft fall that way. But it's just a Dallas thing to do. It would be Dallas. Jerry Jones would just that clock would tick 3 seconds, and that boy would be in Dallas as quick as you could say it, as quick as he could run there. All the jokes and all the things, Dallas finds a way to get stars. They just got one there. Sonny Styles is an absolute freak. It took everything I had not to pick him. I think we would pick him. I'm not going back to the Commanders pick. I'm just saying, Los Angeles Rams. This is where the conversation gets started. So, the Los Angeles Rams. I said I was going to pick him in the first round. Don't the Rams have 2 picks? I think they do. They do have 2 picks. Maybe. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Rams. Yep, LA Rams. But if you don't pick them here, you really leave yourself in that window. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. Not doing it. We're not going there yet. Where I am going with the Rams. Sean McVay and all of his Ramley things that he does. Great coach. Great coach. I love Sean McVay. I wish he was still here. Always will. Corner. You know, it's been a long time since the Rams have been in this area. And I think Sean McVay is one of them players. He is one of them coaches that he identifies talent. And he knows how to coach his talent, play to his talent. I am going to do this because I think the player is that good. Daniel Thiemann, the safety from Oregon. Maybe you would say this is a combine blow up. I think I actually gave Daniel Thiemann. I think I took Thiemann to the Rams at the late 20s pick in my last mock. I do not go. You'd have to go back and watch my video. I don't know. Daniel Thiemann is worthy of the pick. I have Daniel Thiemann in the top 15. So for whatever it goes, knowing the Rams, the traits, the height, weight, speed, the actual tape matching the height, weight, speed, what I have seen them do with good, really good safeties before. And trust me, Sean McVay with Daniel Thiemann, that. Do not be surprised if you see that. That is one of those things where I think, what would the team do? That's what they would do. Baltimore Ravens. Plenty of SEC here. They need quite a few things. I think they need help almost with their just identity. I don't even know. I don't actually know what it is at this point anymore. Typically, Keldrick Falk, would that be a type of player that they would gamble on? Yes. They love the traits. They love the SEC. If they had to make a gamble at this point, they probably would. But I just can't see this player fall anymore. I do think he is the type of player that the Baltimore Ravens would traditionally run the card in for, and that is value meaning need. And honestly, I don't have Keldrick Falk graded as high as PFF does here. I mentioned him because of Auburn, because the SEC, because what the Ravens do. It's generally SEC first round. That's what they like to do, and it makes sense. The player was the highest graded player that I had, and then honestly, the funny thing is Peter would probably be in that conversation if more on my board to that. But Caleb Banks is grading out very, very well. He's the type of player. And again, Clemson having a down year, Peter Wood, as athletic as he is, and all the things like that. There's still a lot of questions about, what happened this last year. They like SEC players. That's where I think that they would go. Tampa Bay is going to have a need. And this is the post-combine mock. So this is not where I care about grades, things like that. This is where my board is going to come more into play too, and how I have players graded, where I think the league is going to get to, and what's going to be more of a consensus grading as we get further away from the season, which are basically the same grades that were at the end of the season. Kenya Sadiq is going to be the pick here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They love Baker. Baker is a really, really good player. Cade Otton is going to go in free agency. That is a player that I really want Washington to kind of go after, depending on how things fall, depending on what their plan is. He's just a player that I'm very, 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 very interested in. Does the blocking, does the catching down the field. You're losing Mike Evans. Does he come back? We don't know. But for Tampa Bay has been very, very successful with pass catchers in the past. They need a tight end. Cade Otton is going to leave. Kenya Sadiq is the best tight end in this class. And when I say he is the best tight end in this class, there is an asterisk to me because I like Eli Stowers just as much as I like Kenya Sadiq in this class. And that's not because the tight end position has taken off in the last couple of years. It's because I love tight ends. Tight ends are really, really good players. When your team has a really, 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 really plus level player at the tight end position, your offense has something that most defenses do not go up against, but maybe 2 times a season, if they're lucky, and that depends on what division that they're in, because them tight ends are spread out throughout the league. They're really, 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 really blue level players at the tight end position. You don't go against some type of players every week. The fact that they're coming into the NFL more frequently because that position is starting to really, really take off. You're starting to get these really, really athletic kids that are big at a high school, college, and they're excelling at this position. They're blowing this position up, from Brock Bowers to Laporta, This tight end position is getting very, very well stocked in the well as far as players that have come out in the past couple of years. And even in this class, there's some really, 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 really talented players. Kenyon Sadiq, for everything that he is, whether you want to play him at wide receiver, slot, everything like that, Kenyon Sadiq is a freak. Is he going to help you in line as much? Not as it's not his like superpower or anything like that, but he's willing at blocker, and he's good enough to where if you bring him inside, you can block with him and things like that. Like it's not like it's a systematic like hindrance having Kenyon Sadiq in line blocking or things like that. Do I want him blocking Joey Bosa? No. Or Nick Bosa or any of them guys, Myles Garrett? No, that's not going to happen. Like, can he chip him? Yeah, but like on that play, he's probably going to be my quick option route to keep Myles Garrett from killing my quarterback. Anyway, Kenyon Sadiq to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's one of my favorite players in the draft. Really, really good player. Rocked up, athletic. The tape matches, and honestly, I think the ceiling is high for this kid. I think Kenyon Sadiq took off as a leader. It was something that I followed in camp for him. He's a guy that lived up to all the hype that I had going into the season as the season went on, and I think he's going to be even better as a pro than he was as a college player. And I think it's even crazier because when you look at him, there was just a lot of things that were coming out of this team from that player, and I expected him to see more. Dante Moore is kind of a reason why I think Kenyon Sadiq didn't take off, because I think more of the quarterback play, more so than Kenyon Sadiq. When he needed him, he was there. He didn't use him as much as I thought he was going to coming into the year, but that also had to carry him more, taking off and things like that. I think there was a little bit more impact from the wide receiver position than they thought they initially were going to have. Plus, Oregon is a team that likes to run that football. But Kenyon Sadiq is a stud, and he's just a player that I think Baker Mayfield would love to get the ball to get Tampa Bay back into the playoffs and number one atop of their division. Getting a Kenyon Sadiq in the first round at this point, not having to trade up in this draft, that's a freak player to get right at that point. I really, really, really like it. And then, let's see, New York Jets. Back on the New York Jets. I know who I picked from them last time, but let's see. New York Jets. After taking David Bailey, what would they do? Would they pick Ty Simpson here at pick 16? I really hope not. Would they? The Jets do Jets things. Could I see them doing it? Yeah. Would I want them to do it? Not really. Man. I'm going to get one of my favorite players in this draft, because I have him graded as a top 15 player. And I think he's worth it. And I think with Garrett Wilson, maybe whatever veteran they bring in, whether they do go this way in the draft, I'm picking a really, 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 really good player to this team right now. Trying to give Garrett Wilson some help. The wide receiver position, if they do not address quarterback in the draft with Ty Simpson and they went Denzel Boston, the biggest thing for the Jets is get the best players. Denzel Boston was my next best player on my board as far as my grades. And honestly, outside of Omar Cooper Jr., I'm trying to do what these teams would do. There is a preference or whatever, but one of my most comparable players to Omar Cooper Jr. is Garrett Wilson. I'm not going to match Garrett Wilson with Garrett Wilson. I want to give Garrett Wilson a big body guy across from him, and that's only going to allow Garrett Wilson to thrive even more. You have the dynamically explosive guy who can go and play above the rim. Then you have the big, huge guy that can win downfield, play above the rim. That would be nasty for whatever quarterback direction that they go. Maybe they get a veteran. Maybe it actually works and takes off adding Arvell, adding David Bailey to the defensive side of the ball, give that defense a little bit of juice, a little bit of youth, a new identity, some new energy coming forward from that defense. Not the pros that they've been paid on a losing roster that wanted to win, that they traded away. Now you get a Denzel Boston in here. You got Garrett Wilson. That should really, really hype up whoever they can get to play quarterback, man. That would really, really go a long way for the future of this team being really, really bright, or even being able to actually attract a quarterback that is still, capable of being a good player in this league. Maybe you get a Kyler Murray or something like that, in free agency or something. Kyler Murray goes to there. Garrett Wilson. Now you add in Denzel Boston. I mean, like I said, free agency's got to be playing out, but this is the post-combine mock. Speculation is, up in the air right now. So, again, there's a lot of scenarios that can go into it. So, Detroit. Love Detroit because of Dan Campbell. I love Dan Campbell. He's everything you want from a coach. I actually got it right this time. Dan Quinn, Commanders. Dan Campbell, Lions. Love both of them. Personally, I just like good humans, man. And honestly, both of them guys are just very, very good humans. I love the way that they coach. No nonsense. Don't take no shit. Dan Campbell's a little bit more vocal about it. I do kind of appreciate it because I just think he's a dude's dude. He's just a man's man. That's just he's awesome. As far as Dan Campbell, man, we all know that a premier corner would be really, really, really good in this spot. My grades on corner are a little bit different. I like Cisse, the South Carolina corner, more than I like Avion Terrell. Again, this is PFS grade board, and they're going off of scores and things like that. To me, it doesn't really add up that way. It doesn't really matter. Cassius Howe is a really, really, really dynamic player. But I'm going to tell you what, this is not a bias pick. I have Akeem graded up in this area. I know he's a little bit older. Detroit needs a player that can come on this team and play right now, and that player that fits their identity is Akeem Mazador. If this is how the board fell, you get Akeem Mazador lined up across from Hutch. Yeah. That's, dude, Ruben Bain, I mean, the way that he plays Hutch, the power game with a lot more length, and that relentless motor, just like everything that Bain gave you, for Akeem to just be able to come in and play the exact same way that he played in Miami this past year, that is a need meets value meets player perfect fit in just everything that I love about Akeem fits a Dan Campbell defense. I'm not gonna mess that up. But anyway, on to Minnesota, man. I love the pick. Akeem Mazador to the Lions. I really like that. The way this board's falling, man, we're getting some heavy. I mean, this has been some heavy hitters in this draft, at least as far as the grades that I have, and then not just the grades that I have, but I think this is actually a really, really good range of where these players are actually going to go in this upcoming draft. And I mean, I'm saying this a month early, and I'm saying this before free agency, but these players are really, really, really good football players. And I think as we get closer to the draft, these are the names that are going to be a lot in these positions. Are they going to go to these teams? I don't know. Trades are going to happen. A lot of things are going to happen, but you could justify each one of these players. The only player that has really fallen, which is he's not going to fall out of the top 10, is Sonny Styles. The only player that has really, really, really fallen to me that I do not see happening on draft day is the Sonny Styles thing. But if he did, Dallas would swoop his ass up in a heartbeat, and that's just how that would go. So on to Minnesota, man. Minnesota, I picked them a cornerback last time. Let me see. There was something. He just looked way too good to me. I think he's going to get drafted in this range. I think he's an identity type of player. I think he fits very much what you're about to lose in a certain type of player. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren to the Vikings, the safety who's going to end up taking over for one of the long-time, really, 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 really good players in this league at the safety position for that team. The Minnesota Vikings have had long time safety play at that position. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is a modern prototype of what you want at that position, and he can even do the back end things that they get. Trust me, man, they've had a really, 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 really diverse piece at the safety position all these years. They're going to continue that with this pick. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, man, he can play over the top and is physical enough to play in the box. The missed tackles are something that he's going to need to clean up, but a lot of players that go for them type of tackles, the shoulder tackles, they go for the highlight hit. Big guys like that run fast, that move smooth. They want to light somebody's ass up when they're coming across the middle, man. Sometimes they don't wrap. They miss some tackles, man. But Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, that is a really, really good player. And Harrison Smith, really, really good player that he's going to be taking over for. He was always much better, covering the deep third or the deep half, much better than most strong safeties in the league. Really, really smart player. To get that type of hold over from one player to the next. I mean, they're looking at another decade of really, really good safety play if they get this player. I grade him very, very highly. I think he's going to be a really, really good stud in the league. I think that fits what Harrison Smith has always done there, and I think this is a good replacement for that. To the Carolina Panthers. D-line, wide receiver, linebacker. I think there's a lot of cases to be made for a lot of things on the Carolina Panthers. The offensive tackle getting hurt, who was a player that I was really, really high on in his draft. He's going to basically be out most of the season with a torn knee, blowing it out like right in the playoffs, man, which just kills you. Could they improve the O-line play in front of them? Would they go, wide receiver to mix it up? Honestly, that's where I'm going to go. It matches my board, and it matches what I think the team is looking to do. I think they got a little bit of a taste of it this year. They drafted a player like this similarly to they've drafted a player similar to this before that did not really work out for them a couple years ago. Casey Concepcion, for anybody wanting to talk about his speech impediment, just do better. But anyway, on the field, Casey Concepcion is a really, really good player. He just showed how smooth his hands were at the combine. He just showed how smoothly he can catch a ball. I think he has shown some drop balls on tape. He cleaned a lot of that up at Texas A&M this year. He was explosive for Texas A&M. That gives him a kick returner, a dynamic piece to go along with Tetairoa McMillan, the offensive rookie of the year this last year. You're finally getting that level of play from Bryce Young. Get the second piece, man. Get the piece moving forward. It didn't work out for the last time, but Casey Concepcion can play outside. So realistically, it just gives you another interchangeable piece. I really, really like that addition for the Carolina Panthers. I think that would be a really, really good player to add to this team. The Dallas Cowboys are just getting blessed today. I guess that's how it's going to work with Sonny Styles falling to them. There's not a running back on the board that would be worthy of selecting right here. Jeremiah Love, of course, is gone, and then there's a lot of field as far as who's going to be the next running back taken, whether it be Washington or a lot of players. One player that I have pretty much falling that I'm much, much higher on than I think the consensus board really is. This is a player that if you paid attention to the Senior Bowl, if you paid attention to this team at all, a lot of people might actually have TJ Parker going more in this range. And TJ Parker is probably the player that I drafted to them last time. TJ Parker is steady. But we know how Dallas is, and if they felt like they hit themselves a home run in the first round with Sonny Styles in the top 12, I could really, really see them going this direction right here. Let me see. Where's he at? This is a player that I'm a little bit more high on than I think the consensus board is going to say. I think if you added, like I said, the Sonny Styles, you have the defensive nose position locked up. This is an edge. This is kind of me looking at what I really, really, really like on tape. The effort, the motor, something that has always kind of worked for Dallas. I'm giving him Zion Young. Zion Young, I have graded a lot higher than a lot of people probably around the league. I really, really like the energy that he plays with. He comes at you with everything. I mean, and a lot of the moves aren't even refined yet. Honestly, when this guy cleans it up, when you saw from that the disruption this guy had at the Senior Bowl, I'm telling you, man, really, 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 really good player. The Steelers, man, this is where I think I got to do it. I don't know how free agency is going to fall for them. I really, really don't. I gotta do it. I gotta do it for the Steelers. Ty Simpson. We're gonna go Ty Simpson to the Steelers. I think this is I've listened to people talk about comps. Comps for a player, comps for a Ty Simpson, somebody was like Mac Jones, oh well, the Alabama, or oh well, Joe Burrow, like blah blah. No. Dude, honestly, when I think about Ty Simpson throwing the ball, he reminds me of Baker Mayfield. Does he have the arm that Baker Mayfield has? No, but I haven't heard the comp, and I'm just going to keep it real. He just reminds me of Baker Mayfield. Some of the injuries and some of the things, didn't have the best weapons, or at least his weapons were not playing up to their best level at Alabama. He gave it everything he had. He got his ass kicked in the playoffs, man. Indiana whooped the shit out of him. And dude, credit to him for playing through it, man. Tough quarterback. The Steelers eventually, McCarthy, Ty Simpson, kind of the build, the arm strength, the processing speed. I like Ty Simpson as a processor. I think he reads the field. I think he's actually a little bit better at reading it than Mac Jones was coming out, especially as far as quickness and the snap for it. Ty Simpson is a guy that I think Mike McCarthy could really, really develop in that team for that team. If you told me that the Steelers, a couple weeks ago, were going to pick it, but I think Ty Simpson is pretty good. I don't know where he goes. It's been really hard for me to grade him, but when I watch him, he just reminds me of Baker Mayfield. Where would Baker Mayfield have really, really thrived at early in his career? Mike McCarthy. Honestly, Mike McCarthy was great for Aaron Rodgers. He's got the legs, he's got mobile ability, he can throw the ball, he's a tough kid. Is he the biggest guy in the world? No, but like I said, he just reminds me of Baker Mayfield. He has a little bit of Baker Mayfield in him, like a little bit more of the modern Baker Mayfield, where he's not completely fighting players and things like that. But he's settled down a little bit more. I just think Ty Simpson reminds me of Baker Mayfield, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think was Baker Mayfield maybe overdrafted? I didn't think so, because I love Baker Mayfield coming out, especially with the fire and the attitude and things like that. This one's pretty easy for me. The best guard, the best interior player that you're going to get in this draft is Iwana. He's a really good player to the Chargers. The Chargers need to do everything they can to finally just protect Justin Herbert. You got the running back. You got some wide receivers. You finally got rid of Greg. I don't know what you were thinking with Greg Roman, but you got rid of him. You finally got Mike McDaniel in there. Get yourself a guard that can pull. This is a guard that can pull. He's nasty. He's everything. He's one of my, honestly, I have a top 12 grade on this guy. I didn't give him to him because that's my best friend's team. I gave him to them because Harbaugh prioritizes offensive line. Mike McDaniels is changing his own blocking scheme. A guard that can pull. The running back they've addressed early. They've put the assets into changing the identity of this team. The offensive tackles are shored up. This shores you up in the interior of the offensive line where they need it. They need all the help they can get there. Stop getting Justin Herbert killed. This move does that. It also allows you. He is a dog in the run game. He is going to do nothing but good things next to, whether they put him next to Alt, whether they put him next to just like I said, it's the most thoughtless pick outside of Sonny Styles falling to Dallas is just insane. I still can't get over it. Anyway, moving forward. Philadelphia Eagles. Well, they are not getting Kenyon Sadiq, and that is nothing but okay with me. They would definitely have gone. They would have definitely have gone the guard out of Penn State if he was available to them. Since he is not available to them, I think edge is more of a need. Everybody's grades on these edges are going to be all over the place. All over the place. One thing I will say, one thing I would definitely say about Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman has been a consensus type guy. He has been very, very big on the consensus board, best player available type thing. Where would he go? I'm just going to keep it 1,000% with you, dude. If you were asking me the consensus best player left on the board, and not just a player that has just risen over the course of the last couple months, but has, you know, a little bit of time of dominance to him, TJ Parker would be the pick. I think TJ Parker is a really, really good player. He still grades out for me. Did he end up being a top 5 player this year? No. Senior Bowl, look no further. He's still TJ Parker. He's still that dude. Howie Roseman really, really does trust the consensus, and TJ Parker is a consensus player. He is very worthy of the pick. I did not scroll down just to whatever. You know, you guys can have Kendrick Falk wherever you want him. I know he's going to get drafted high. Say what you will, but I do not even have Kendrick Falk as a first-round player. I don't even, not that I have a ton of first-round grades in this draft. I don't have him as a first-round player. I would not draft him in the first round. At a certain point in the second, I would. I'm not knocking the guy. I see the motor. I see like that he needs a little bit of refinement in his pass rush, you know, things, but he will throw a lot of things at you. I see effort. I know he has it. I know he has the skill set. I know he's athletic. I know Auburn is not the place that, you know, players have typically gone to shine and develop into the best version of themselves sometimes, especially when they're uber talented, just like Florida. You know, Clemson, you can say the same thing with TJ Parker and things like that. You know, I see it with Kendrick Falk. I don't have the grade on him. I will not do it. For people that are saying Jordan Tyson has fallen and things like that, let me just be real with you, man. Like Jordan Tyson doesn't grade out that injuries are a thing for me. Injuries are very much a thing for me. I have been burnt. I mean, if any fan of any team, any coach of any team, any GM of any team that has drafted a player early in the draft and they suffer from injuries often and throughout their time there, it is a very, very frustrating thing. I know where Jordan Tyson is on tape. For all the great things that he is on tape, injured is one of them. And like, dude, I get it, man. Uber talented. I know he's falling, and that's something that you're going to say when you're looking at this board fall. I'm sorry, man. It's really hard for me when I look at these players that are graded up here, for me to put them in them positions. And when I watch college football year in and year out, it's really, really hard for me to just follow the masses and grade these players out the same way. I just can't do it, man. It isn't in me. So, on to the Cleveland Browns. Where are they going to go? We have... let's see. Cleveland Browns. Oh, yeah. I was about to say Spencer Fontaine. I was like, was it Cardinal Tate? Was it? Oh, shoot. Oh, I'm breaking it. No, don't. Oh, I broke it. Oh, no. I did it again. All right. Now that we have officially broken the mock draft simulator at a perfect time for, the pod. Cleveland Browns. Spencer Fontaine was where they went. Got the tackle. If the Penn State guard was still there, he is definitely where I would go. Myles Garrett getting up there, killed it, just broke the single season sack record. maybe this is a spot where you do go a Keldrick Falk. It'd be very, very hard for me. Do I think that they would pass up Jordan Tyson at this point? Again, here we go. Need meets everything. I was just talking about Jordan Tyson. Too good to maybe be in this range. A team that has gotten pretty lucky with drafting, injured players and had them paying out for them outside of quarterback. Again, Cleveland Browns, I think it just makes too much sense. The Chicago Bears, I think they're going to be active, very active this offseason, whether it's players that they lose and then it's players that they re-sign. Losing their offensive center to retirement today, that kind of hurts. But I am going to go with a player that I really do like. I think his best days are ahead of him. I think the Bears are going to be retooling this defense a lot. If there was a safety that I thought was necessarily worthy of this pick, I'd probably go the safety. Man, this is hard because I do still love this player, and I think, yep, that's where I'm going. Peter Woods to the Chicago Bears, man. It's the pick that makes the most sense to me. It's the direction I could very much see them going. Peter Woods, I think defensive line would be a little bit bigger help than maybe a linebacker in C.J. Allen. For as much as I love C.J. Allen and as good of a player as he is, this is his range for me. This is definitely his range. I think some other linebackers really, really made a name for themselves at the combine too, man. I think they really, really solidified themselves as second rounders. I think C.J. Allen might have the quietest combine, and honestly, that's probably not good because honestly, the linebackers excelled. They ran really, really fast times. It was not very, very surprising to me. So, coming to the Bills, the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills cannot get over the hump. It has really, really been hard for the Buffalo Bills over the last couple of years, man. I am going to give them my favorite player in the draft. Would they pick this player? I don't know. They've picked every wide receiver that I don't like, so maybe they'll pick one that I finally do. Omar Cooper Jr. That's who I'm giving them to. Omar Cooper Jr. would be the next pick. If available. I think Omar Cooper Jr. should be gone. I think Omar Cooper is a top 15 player in this draft. I like him and Denzel Boston as my top two. Cardinal Tate would be my third. Like I said, I value different things. I look at different things. I grade differently. My grades are never going to be consensus. I know this pod is taking a lot of time, but I am giving you a detailed reason for each team. I like the way that this draft is falling. If these players were all going at these positions, whether a team traded up for them or skip somebody at these points, this is very much how I would see the draft falling out to this point. Maybe a pick or two differently. Like I said, with Sonny Styles being available, I think that's crazy. I don't think he would. But if the draft was to fall this way, all these picks make sense to me. Scheme fits. Just the type of needs that the teams have, and then the type of players that fit the needs that these teams have. Honestly, like I said, wide receiver would definitely be a spot. Could I see? I mean, I don't know how recently they've upgraded these. I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I probably have to go down quite a ways. My God, is Eli Stowers? Yeah, Stowers is not going to last much longer. Would San Francisco take Eli Stowers? I was about to say, I'm looking at my board, not seeing Eli Stowers here. That would be interesting. I mean, you're not going to have George Kittle for a good portion of the season tearing his, Achilles at like the last moment of the game. There's been a lot of injury things there with them. Chris Bell really, really, really ran through that combine. Looked really, really good. He is the type of wide receiver that I like. I think he's the type of wide receiver that Kyle Shanahan likes. Kyle Shanahan's maximized a lot of guys like that. Looking at this board, I mean, Stowers is my highest grade player. C.J. Allen's up there. Linebacker, they looked much better when Fred Warner had, Dre Greenlaw there. CJ Allen, maybe it's not a position of need, but it's a position that, would look really, really good with, CJ Allen playing next to Fred Warner. I mean, that's a unit right there. That's a unit that is cleaning things up. That is getting things done. The edge class, the edges are going to be plentiful, man. It is going to be a pick your poison type of thing. There's a lot of players. I mean, Anthony Hill Jr. I mean, I got to go down here to find the players that I have on my board. Like I have guys much higher than a lot of these consensus things that they have going on here. Max Clare, really, really talented player. I think Dominique Orange is a really, really talented player. If I was San Francisco, where would I go for edge? Again, like I said, I'm not as high. I mean, I love Cassius Howe. Drafting a player with 30-inch arms, even shorter than Ruben Bain Jr.'s, like, his tape is good, but he's an older prospect too. I think I don't really see a way that he goes in the first round after the measurements, the age, the things that piled up. Again, Akeem Mazador is the higher age prospect, but Akeem Mazador's tape, measurements, skill set, they're all right there. I really don't know what's going to go on with Trent Williams, and honestly, I've said this for a while. I've really, really felt like this is something that the 49ers have kind of let slip under wraps whilst they stole, Trent Williams from us, basically. I mean, just highway robbery. For the asset, for what they gave up, for what you always knew you were getting. I don't even care. We knew he had no value to us. We weren't getting anything in return. We had to trade him. He wasn't going to play here type thing. But honestly, but Trent Williams now could be leaving San Francisco. To date, it doesn't really matter. If that was the case and Monroe Freeling was still on the board at this point, honestly, Monroe Freeling could go to the Philadelphia Eagles. He could go to the Bears, the Browns, the Bills. Monroe Freeling, he's just like my grade. That's where he is. This is a little later than I thought he would still go, especially after the combine and the way that he ran, the way that he looked, the way that he tested, along with his tape and all the things that he had working in his favor. Again, Monroe Freeling is a player that I still don't know if he falls this far. I thought this was his floor for me before going into the combine, after going into the combine, and him just reassessing everything that I saw on tape and everything that I thought he was going to test at. He's top 15 to this. This is kind of like his floor to me, and as far as just me, this is like I said, this is just my opinion on players. This is me kind of ending the fall for a player that I'm really, really high on. I know that the Houston Texans need every offensive lineman available. Honestly, I got to go this player. I got to go this player. I can't not go this player. Caden Proctor is too good. You see the highs, you see the lows with him, you see the size. Maybe, you want to keep him a little bit lighter than what he's been the whole time. Alabama loves offensive tackles to be huge. Can he drop weight? Of course, any person could drop weight from that size. Would it even be beneficial to him in his frame for him to drop weight? Possibly, to sustain long term. But they are trading offensive linemen. Like, they have offensive linemen in Houston. Until further notice, the best offensive line goes to Houston, because just protect CJ Stroud. And then, what do they do after my last mock when I say just protect CJ Stroud, which was pretty much my sentiment for the whole mock for the Houston Texans? What do? They traded more offensive linemen away. I get it. Players get expensive. You got to pay Will Anderson. You're going to be paying CJ Stroud at the same time. I understand, but protect CJ Stroud. Like, just protect. Like, you're trading linemen. You traded Tunsil. You traded Titus. Like, Howard. Just I don't know what they're doing, but I'm giving them tackles. I will no longer mock another position to the Titans until they figure out what they're doing and stop getting rid of offensive linemen and start picking some offensive linemen. That's the only way I can really assess the situation. It's just mind-boggling to me. You have a quarterback who's not the most athletic quarterback, and you were just getting him killed. It's not like, even if he was athletic, he was just getting killed. But like, just protect the quarterback. Like, you have a quarterback. You have continuously made it to the playoffs and done pretty well with CJ Stroud. And he's got the weapons, he's got the things. Now they traded for David Montgomery. Like, give him protection, man. Give him some offensive linemen. Caden Proctor just makes it. I mean, maybe it just makes too much sense, but that's what they're getting. The Los Angeles Rams. I would have gone Ty Simpson here. I would have really gone Ty Simpson here. I really hate to actually. I'm kind of scared to actually hit this little button again, but especially because I broke the mock on the last one. But let's see. Your picks, Daniel Thiemann. That's right. I gave him a stud, an absolute stud. Daniel Thiemann to the Los Angeles Rams. Oh my God. I mean, could I have blessed him anymore? Dude, I love Daniel Thiemann. His tape matches the grade and everything he tested. Like, if that dude doesn't go in the top 15, and teams are great. I don't care how devalued the safety position is. If you look at this draft and you really are a best player available team, which the Los Angeles Rams are, Daniel Thiemann's got to be on that board. Like, he's got to be on that board. So now you're starting to get into the area where value comes into what you need. I would have given them a tackle. I would have given them a tackle. Caleb Lamu possibly still goes there, but we're going to discuss this pick because there's a lot of different directions that they could go. The defense is good, and then you add a Daniel Thiemann to that defense. You're getting your quarterback on the back end. No more big plays given up. Which is a position that they were definitely getting torched at. Cornerback was definitely a position of need. How would they feel about Avion Terrell? Avion Terrell is clean, man. He's not the biggest physical guy, but they didn't pick up Emmanuel Forbes from us because he was the biggest physical guy. Avion Terrell is clean. He is clean. He can play ball. Like a CJ Allen is a guy that I have graded up real high. Caden McDonald would do wonders on that defensive front. That defensive front is just constantly turned over. Like Lee Hunter is a guy that I'm really, really high on, and I just keep not giving him to teams. But it's, there are certain points where needs come into play. If I thought about what the Rams would really, really do in this moment, it would be between Caleb Lamu, who is actually my next graded offensive tackle. It's not just the way that this is falling. And the only reason I'm right here on this is because while I like Brandon Cisse, Colton Hood is probably going to go in the first round. And yeah, yep, that's where we're going. We're going with Colton Hood. I have Cisse, like they're like right there for me. Yeah, I know Jermon McCoy, a lot of things. I'm not drafting a player that had an ACL injury at the end of one season, is still not participating. He's been medically cleared, whatever. He didn't test. I get it. But a player that just basically had a year off for a knee injury, yes, his tape is probably the best tape of any cornerback in this class. From that year, that's still a year away. I've seen David Amerson have a really, really good 10 interception year, and then the next year look like shit. So cornerback is very, very hard and very, very tricky. I'm not picking a cornerback that didn't play last year. It's just that will never be the case. That will never be the case for me. So that's just how this goes. Denver Broncos. They're damn sure not picking cornerback. Running back, tight end. Yep, I got to give them my highest graded player, and that is Eli Stowers. Eli Stowers is a stud. He reminds me of Jordan Reed as a Washington fan. Trust me, Jordan Reed was a stud. Eli Stowers is a physical freak. Like, this dude jumps out of the gym. He plays a lot like Jordan Reed, the routes, will route you up. The size, just he's smoother than fast, but he's still fast, and guys don't run him down. Like, I am not the hugest Diego Pavia fan. Like the attitude, the story of Vanderbilt was very exciting this year watching it. But I'm not, like when I'm grading a player, like he's definitely not a guy that I'm grading very, very highly. But again, this is just something that I'm again. Eli Stowers is the pick for the Denver Broncos. My best friend would be a little bit upset with me, but Eli Stowers is a stud, and he just can't fall anymore. The New England Patriots, if this were to be the case, they would run this card in. It would be C.J. Allen. Really don't even have to talk about it. Tackle would be in that range, but I don't have one in that range. I do think that is where the Patriots would like to go with their round 1 pick, but the value is not there. The value is not there for me. Not with C.J. Allen on the board, and not for a head coach who is a linebacker, seeing the type of player like C.J. Allen sitting there available for him. I don't think they would do it. And then, honestly, I think I made this pick last time. I think I made this pick last time for them because nope. I'm going to do a Seattle thing, and I'm going to give them one of my highest graded players, and that's Anthony Hill Jr. Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker from Texas, is a absolute stud. I don't know how other people are grading him, but I have him right there with C.J. Allen. I mean, I think Anthony Hill Jr. is an absolute stud. Absolute stud. That is the player that I would pick for the Seattle Seahawks if that's how the board fell. I do think maybe the Patriots would go Lamu or something like that. I give him C.J. Allen because I'm a best player available kind of guy. That is what I do, and that is the way that I go about this. So again, man, to recap, we got Fernando Mendoza, David Bailey to the Jets, Francis Maioga. Work with me. Ruben Bain Jr. to the Titans, Carnell Tate, Spencer Fanu, Jeremiah Love, Arvell Reese, Mekhi Lemon, Caleb Downs. Just, you can read it. You can see. You know who all the picks were. You can go back and watch it. Talk about your team, but hopefully I talked about your team. Hopefully I gave them a player that you liked. I appreciate you sticking around if you watched the pod. I know this is a little bit longer episode. I really, really do appreciate all the people that like, comment, subscribe, anything that you do. Anybody that comments on the post, I'll answer back. I'll discuss anything. If you have something you want me to add about your team on one of my episodes, I'll definitely do it. I am a Commanders-based episode, but I really do actually like talking ball about all the other teams. I have friends that are I know ball. I watch a lot of ball, and this is what I do. So, I mean, honestly, it's actually kind of fun just not to talk about the Commanders sometimes. Sometimes I just wish I could skip their pick and do every other team and just not even talk about my team at all. But for what I do, I scout for my team. So this is what I do. Scouting is my favorite. Mock drafts are very, very relative, but this is the closest thing I can give you to what my board says and the way that I graded these players to how the board would fall if this was the way that it would go without trades. So again, it's a mock draft. It means nothing at the end of the day. So hopefully you liked it. I appreciate you if you stuck around. I know nobody watched an hour and 26 minutes of this, but if you did, again, thank you. Have a blessed one, and I really, really do appreciate it.